What's going on, YouTube world and YouTube tribe? Welcome back to LilBigMan Gaming, bringing you a Monday Night Raw review. Now, before I get into it, I am a little upset because when I found out they was gonna be here in Cleveland, I was like, oh man, I didn't get to go to that. Only because I think one of the people I never got to see in person was Edge. I think my first time going was when Edge had already retired from his neck injury before he came back. So it was like, dang it, I miss Edge. But yeah, one of these days I'm gonna give y'all a review from the perspective of being at the show. I guarantee that for sure. Because I'll still go, even though I'm not currently a fan of the way they do things here. You know, cutting everybody, making it so kind of dull. But nonetheless, Raw actually had an intro. Now I don't know if you haven't been following. SmackDown's been once they do the then now forever together, all that type of stuff. SmackDown's been having an intro, like showing out their superstars and whatnot. So they've been doing that, and Raw hasn't had one. So this was unique in that aspect because Raw actually had an intro to start the show. Instead of just going direct to a promo or somebody coming out, they actually did an intro with the intro pyro. So that was kind of refreshing. But then we got the opening segment, which is it was a kind of like a promo, but it was almost like they were all doing their entrance basically for the excuse me, I thought I was about to sneeze there. They all was doing their intro for their match, but instead of just doing their intro and then starting the match, they did a promo, which is Seth and Kevin Owens. They came out first, and basically cut a promo about them, how their road to WrestleMania is had turbulence from the Elimination Chamber, the Royal Rumble, all these different roadblocks they had to go to, but they said it ends tonight, and that clear path to WrestleMania is them winning the Raw Tag Team Championship and going on to WrestleMania. The Corey Graves and them hyped it up as that to be the case, saying that whoever wins this match, basically other than the Alpha Academy, at that point they were saying whoever if Seth and Kevin Owens or RK Bro doesn't win, they don't have a clear path no more to WrestleMania. Only person they got a clear path right now, at least for the time being, would be AC or Alpha Academy. And then speaking of which, they came out, and cut their promo. They did their entrance. They cut a promo, talking trash to Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens after Seth Rollins kept like showing like replays of what they did the last 2 weeks to both RK Bro and Alpha Academy. They came out and talked trash, saying that they was going to basically be the ones to go to WrestleMania because they worked their tails off. If anybody decided to go to WrestleMania, it's them. So afterwards, RK Bro, they cut a promo backstage. They was the only ones who didn't cut a promo on their way to the ring. They cut a promo backstage about them regaining the titles and going to WrestleMania. And then they came out, they the only ones who did like a regular entrance and came out, and this will be the start of the first match of the night, which is Alpha Academy versus Seth and Kevin Owens versus RK Bro for the Raw Tag Team Championships. This match was downright amazing. They all gelled and worked together. Chad Gable had a great spot in the match. He had a great spot where he kept transitioning into German shoe flexes on everybody, and that was a great spot Great match all the way around. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I dare say this was the match of the night because really the rest of the show really wasn't that great. But this match right here was probably the best, and it had the best turnabout events. Like because I actually, for the most part, I actually kind of suspect that they was going to give it to Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens. I fully knew going into this match. I fully knew that that Alpha Academy was losing. Now, was there like a little bit of inkling that they might have win? Yes, I had, but the percentage of them winning was not great in my mind because the way how things was going, the way how they was telling the story, it was either going to be RK Bro or Kevin Owens who would win this match, and I was right at least in one regard that Alpha Academy was going to lose the match, but the person who won. The team that won was was where I was wrong because I thought it was going to be Seth and Kevin Owens, and it turned out to be RK Bro. They actually did come out and win thanks to thanks to Riddle, who took advantage of Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens double team of a stunner and the stomp, and would actually throw. I think Seth Rollins was the legal partner. He would throw Seth Rollins out the ring. Randy Orton would hold Kevin Owens from getting back to stop the pin, and Seth Rollins was too late to stop the pin, and thus RK Bro. And this was all on Chad Gable. The stomp and the stunner was all on Chad Gable, and this would lead to RK Bro regaining the Raw Tag Team Championships and going to WrestleMania. Now, I want to say that at WrestleMania it's going to be RK Bro defending the titles against Alpha Academy, just so the Alpha Academy can be on the card. Now, since we're in Cleveland, we're going to have Cleveland hometown natives. So the next match would be Dana Brooke versus Tamina for the 24/7 championship. Now, the one thing I did like was that the hometown of Cleveland did give love to Dana Brooke, and I'm glad because Dana Brooke is a Cleveland native, just like The Miz. Just like Logan Paul, and it was also advertising that it was a homecoming where it was like a special. You could say it was like a special edition of Miz TV where it was going to be Miz and Logan Paul with Jerry the King Lawler, but more on that in a bit. But yeah, this match, other than the only thing I liked about it was the home crowd pop that Dana Brooke got. The crowd did, it did hype her up. She did get hyped to hear that the home crowd didn't forget about her. But other than that, the match was pretty much lackluster. I didn't really care for it. I mean, I did get a chuckle out of Tamina's aggressive girlfriend style. She's like Akira, just this little wimpy like dude who is falling for Tamina, who's just uberly aggressive in her love. But Dana Brooke would win this match and retain her 24/7 championship. Then the little promo I was talking about where The Miz and Logan Paul came out and they brought out their special guest. They hyped up the crowd. Miz loved that the crowd cheered for him, and he was like, "This is what respect." And then he brought out Logan. The crowd kind of sort of cheered for Logan, and they basically talked about how much they love Cleveland, how Cleveland is home. For the meantime, it was a face-like promo. They even brought out Jerry the King Lawler, who I did not know. Because they made it seem like he's from here, but it's when you look up, it says that Jerry the King Lawler is from Memphis, Tennessee. But Jerry the King Lawler did stay here. I didn't know that. Now, it doesn't tell you in his bio that he stayed here. You have to really search for it, but it will tell you that he did stay in Cleveland, in Amherst, like he was saying, in Amherst and Array. He did stay in all those places in Cleveland. So while he wasn't born and raised here, he definitely lived here in his youth for a bit. But yeah, and then the Miz, the promo was okay. The promo was probably like another good probably besides the edges. This is probably like a good promo, kind of sort of good promo. It was just confusing because they went from the Miz went from talking about how good Cleveland is until Jerry the King Lawler basically mentioned that Cleveland would be a great place to host WrestleMania. And the crowd went crazy for that. And then, of course, in Miz fashion, he cut a heel promo saying that Cleveland, he said, don't get me wrong, I love Cleveland, I love you guys, but he said Cleveland is not a WrestleMania place. You know, he said it's not a place to be held to hold WrestleMania. Then he started ripping the city of Cleveland, which got him boos, and then they just abruptly just left the ring with Jerry the King Lawler just standing there. Yeah, the next match would be Tommaso Ciampa and Braun Breaker making his main roster debut versus Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode. Now, this match, other than Braun Breaker making his main roster debut, a lot better than they did Karrion Kross, I might add. This match was okay. It was another good showing for Tommaso Ciampa on the main roster, as he's the one currently being groomed to come over to the main roster. But this was also a good main roster debut for Braun Breaker, as they would defeat Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode ahead of tonight when tonight when you see this video. Tonight's NXT. It's going to be NXT Roadblock, I think they call it, where it's going to be a triple threat match for the NXT Championship between Tommaso Ciampa and Dolph Ziggler and Braun Breaker. But nonetheless, this was a good momentum for Tommaso Ciampa and Braun Breaker. The next match was Omos versus Apollo Crews. I still don't get what they doing with Omos. It was kind of weird just to see him the fire Apollo Crews, but they did hype. Even though Omos would like always get the victory here, they did hype up. They tried to hype up a match between him and Commander Aziz. It looked like maybe for next week, probably. But yeah, Omos would get the victory in that match. Edge promo was next, where they did a recap. They've been doing a lot of recaps. They did recaps of what Edge did last week. They kept showing the recap between Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns at the Madison Square Garden little house show. But then Edge would come out, and Edge got like a new heel type thing where his song comes on, but it's all dark except for the main spotlight that's on him is like in the bluest, purplest HUD, like it would be for the Undertaker when he come out, but instead it was Edge. And the way how they do it is his music will come on, You Think You Know Me, and it will play, and then it will come on, but then it will go off, because if nothing would happen, nothing would come on the screen, nothing would happen, and he'll come out into the spotlight. And then he just walked out to the ring and cut a promo about how he basically did this for AJ Styles so he could be the old dog, gritty dog, AJ Styles. Pretty much the same thing he said last week, but except that the only difference that he said he ended up inadvertently trying to help AJ Styles. AJ Styles helped Edge unlock a part of him that he's never thought he had before, and that he's in love with it. So he's in love with this new heel Edge, and pretty much that was it. Then the promo ended, which was still a good promo. It's still so Edge could do that. He could be a great face or a great heel either way. We will get the next match, which is Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley versus Carmella and Queen Zelina. Now, the caveat here to this match is if Rhea and Liv can beat Queen Zelina and Carmella, they will be added to the WrestleMania Tag Team Championship match, Women's Tag Team Championship match at WrestleMania. And the match was good. It was okay. It was just confusing because I thought we were trying to move Rhea away from the tag team, spotlight. Maybe try to push, but then you realize, oh well, if we're not going to put her in the main picture. Other than they did put her in the main picture in Madison Square Garden, so I give them that. But they pushed her right back into the tag team division, this time with Liv Morgan, and now it was this match. The match was good up until I don't know. I guess they try to show a dissension between Queen Zelina and Carmella, as they basically in the end of the match, Carmella would get. I guess she would take one too many bumps and she would go talk to Corey, and they would forget about the whole match itself, leaving Queen Zelina in the ring to be beaten up by Liv and Rhea, who will win the match and go on to WrestleMania. So now the SmackDown, I was about to say both shows, the women's tag team match at WrestleMania would now be a triple threat for the women's tag team championship. This would be like the main event match, I would say, as it would be Finn Balor versus Austin Theory. Now, this was a non-title match, but they kept hyping like it was a title match. But either way, it was a good match for Finn. It was an okay match for Austin Theory. The match would have been good had it not ended in DQ, but the DQ storyline did make sense in this regard, so I let it pass. The DQ, and what I mean by DQ finish was that when Finn Balor looked like he was going to go for the coup de grace, he would get thrown from the rope via chokeslam like throw from Damian Priest, who caused the DQ. He would, I think he beat up Finn Balor before leaving the ring, but yeah, that Finn Balor would win this match via DQ. But I think Austin Theory was the one who beat him up. I forgot. Austin Theory did beat him up after the match to take a selfie with him. Just like sending a message to Pat McAfee. I knew either Pat or Damian Priest was going to interfere. I just thought it would be Pat, but it ended up being Damian Priest. With that being said, to better illustrate the last thing before the show went off, which is another Kevin Owens promo. I forgot to mention that after the tag team match where Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens lost, they were distraught throughout the whole night, not knowing what to do now that WrestleMania really is going to not have Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens. But Kevin Owens wasn't as distraught as Seth Rollins because he had a plan. And this was his plan. His plan was to host a Kevin Owens show on WrestleMania. But he was talking about, since it was in Texas, he ran through all the people who's considered legends in the business from Texas to have on the show, and we all knew it was going from here. He basically ran down all the people he could have put on there, but he didn't. It was only one. It only made sense for one person that he wanted to put that he wanted to ask to be on the show, and he basically ran Stone Cold Steve Austin down, saying how he was a broken shell, his former self. He got bum knees and all this type of stuff. And he basically challenged Stone Cold Steve Austin to appear on the show. And yeah, that was about it. And then Corey Graves hyped up how it's been 19 years since Stone Cold basically fought wrestled in the wrestling ring. And I'm just like, if he didn't say wrestle, he just said be on the Kevin Owens show. We don't. Stone Cold really, and this is because Stone Cold, they don't know which way to go with it because Stone Cold still haven't given his decision on whether or not he's going to have a match at WrestleMania. He just, but he is just not. He will make an appearance. He's going to make an appearance regardless, but he don't know it's just going to be, just to give a stunner and leave, or actually wrestle and then give a stunner and leave. But overall, this episode on Monday Night Raw, for me, I give it I want to give it a 7, but I'm gonna end up giving it a 6 out of 10 just because it wasn't the greatest of shows. It still built more towards WrestleMania. It did build towards WrestleMania like it's supposed to, but it just wasn't that great. It wasn't a good show. It was an okay show. That's why I gave it a 6 out of 10. Big ups. But you let me know in the comments down below what you thought of this episode of Monday Night Raw. And if you enjoyed this review, then you hit that button right there in the upper right corner for all of my WWE reviews. And if you enjoyed this review so much you want to support the channel, all you gotta do is hit that like, subscribe, share, and hit that notification button. Okay, it lets me know you want more videos like this and you like the videos like these that I do. And as always, hit any one of these videos for more of my amazing content. Just uploaded the Batman review, so enjoy that as well. And I will be having some WWE and maybe some Far Cry video game gameplays later on today. Peace out.